financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is a Brian small specialty. How does a Chapter 7 work? Good morning, Brian. Small.
Okay, we have an echo.
I don't know what's wrong with my echo.
Good morning, Ken. And it's going to be an interesting topic today, Chapter 7. And I think I want to present to everybody how Chapter 7 works through a case study today.
Jeffrey Linden, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Brian.
What do you guys think of my echo? It was all designed to fool Dave, our producer, while the show was going on.
Well, you got to be more accurate with your echoes. Echoes don't repeat everything. It trails off. So it would be small.
That's a good one. Very good. Excellent. Okay.
You guys do work as attorneys, right?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's our day job. Elimination of debt strategies. Before we get to specifically Chapter 7, I'm throwing out 4 strategies, Brian. You tell me if I'm missing any. Budget management.
100% dead on so far.
Chapter 13.
Works for me.
Debt resolution.
Love it.
Chapter 7.
You hit all 4 right on the head.
Death.
That
Wasn't on the outline.
no, death?
Yes.
Well, it works if for the person who owed the money.
It works for the decedent, not necessarily their estate.
Right.
Okay. All right. What's the optimum strategy?
Depends on who you are. But let's start off with the simple theory that if you're in debt, you want to get rid of it. Chapter 7 is the least costly, most effective, most efficient way to get rid of debt. There are reasons to do Chapter 7. There are reasons to do Chapter 13. There are reasons to do debt resolution. We just did a show on Chapter 13 and debt resolution. There's reasons to do budget management. Whoever you are, whatever your situation is, if you are looking for your solution, the analysis is the same. We look at every factor that goes into your economic situation, and we find the most effective, least costly method for you.
Yeah,
Period.
I kind of want to stay on that for a quick second, because when you say the analysis is the same, it's the methodology of our analysis that's the same, is that we look and we evaluate what your income is, what assets you have, what you'll qualify for. Will you qualify for a 7? And if so, what are the consequences? If you don't qualify for a 7, will you qualify for a 13? And if so, how rapidly are we able to get rid of the debt and what's the timeline? And then we compare that to debt resolution. And if whatever the conclusion is between those 3 strategies is, whichever one is the fastest, quickest way to get rid of the debt at the least possible cost, that's typically our recommendation. But how do you fit budget management into that?
Budget management is a tool that we utilize for people who have gotten themselves in trouble, but they really aren't necessarily looking to, they don't want to file a Chapter 7, or they don't want to file a Chapter 13, or they don't want to do debt resolution because they're trying to do something. A lot of people will come in and say, I'm in too much debt. I make a good living. My short-term goals are to buy a house and to put money away for my kids for college. Well,
good goals.
Budget management is a tool that allows us to utilize the money that's coming in and still keep your credit score in good shape and put you in a situation where your debt is eliminated over a period of time. It may not be as short of a period of time as Chapter 7 or debt resolution, but based on what you want to do, we're going to put you into a budget management program instead.
Let me throw out a word there of how I perceive it. I think of budget management as an enhancement on your spending. If you have X amount available to spend, if you apply budget management well, you'll make those dollars go longer and you can let them accomplish a savings goal. But budget management doesn't eliminate debt. If you've gotten yourself way into debt, it's not going to be the fastest, quickest way of getting out of the debt. No. That takes a more drastic measure.
Indeed.
You like that? Okay, let's do a case study. Sean and Marcy, mid-50s, 2 children, $80,000 of income. Let me give you their assets. They have a house, fair market value $350,000. First mortgage is $300,000, so there's $50,000 of equity. They both have IRAs totaling $180,000. They got $4,000 of cash in the bank. They've got $90,000 of credit card debt, and they got $20,000 of medical bills. Had some problems. They've got tax liabilities from 2016 of $20,000 and 2017 of $10,000. So their total debt's $140,000. Their net worth is $94,000. That's their situation. Now,
it's actually a pretty typical situation that I see every day. None of those numbers are outrageous. Maybe the credit cards are a little high. So substitute $90,000 for $60,000 for the credit card debt, or $50,000. Everything else is normal. $20,000 for the medical bills and $20,000 worth of taxes from 16 and 10 from 17. Those are regular people numbers. They're not outrageous by any stretch of the imagination. The debt is outrageous.
Let me tell you what Sean told me. He was at the bar last week, and he was talking to Jerry, the bartender.
Not Jerry again.
And he was asking him, what should I do? And Jerry said, you don't want to harm your credit score, so cash out the IRAs, pay off the taxes, pay off the credit cards and the taxes. You'll have a little bit of money left. You can pay the taxes on the IRAs, and you'll get it all behind you.
God love him. Not the best advice, but Jerry's a hell of a guy.
Jerry is an idiot.
You think Jerry's a good bartender?
I think Jerry might be a great bartender, but his financial advice, I'm going to call him an idiot.
Let's take a break, and when we come back from the break, you can explain why you think Jerry's wrong. COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Hello, my name is Jerry the bartender, and I have a serious problem with the last segment. I believe you said that I was an idiot, Mr. Small, and I would like an explanation as to why you think that's the case.
You know, here's the thing. Jerry doesn't even deserve an explanation because he should just go back to pouring drinks. He does not give out good financial advice. So let's talk about what he said that was wrong. Okay, in general...
I think you should apologize for calling him an idiot. Let's say he's mistaken.
No. Anyway, moving on. Listen, Jerry says you don't want to harm your credit score. Cash out the IRA and pay off the credit cards and the taxes. Okay.
What's wrong with that?
It's completely wrong. You're stealing from your future. You just took your IRA, which is your retirement, and you used it to pay credit card debt that's dischargeable in bankruptcy, and you could keep your IRA and in a bankruptcy. You are never going to get a chance again. They're in their 50s. They're never going to get a chance again to put that base income back into their IRA. They're stealing from their retirement. The absolute worst thing they could humanly do. So Jerry is an idiot.
I feel bad for Jerry, but I happen to agree with you. Jerry's 100% wrong. Here's the point. If you're able to get rid of this credit card debt and keep your assets and keep your IRA, your net worth increases. It's not just their credit card. It's their credit card debt, their medical bills, and their tax bills. Correct me if I'm wrong between you two guys. Jeff, you're the tax expert. They could file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, eliminate all of those, still keep their IRAs, still keep the house, which means basically they're going to improve their net worth by $140,000.
Yeah.
That's a $140,000 return on a 3-month trip.
They're going to have to wait at least until April of 2021 to get rid of the last 10,000.
Why is that?
Because the 2017 tax year came due April 15th, 2018. 3 years later, that tax becomes dischargeable in 2021.
Okay, so yeah, good point. All right, so
but we're almost there.
It's already
we're already there. We're already 2021.
Yeah, so we file the bankruptcy. We wait till after April 15th. We then discharge both those years' taxes, right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Income taxes are dischargeable. Are all taxes dischargeable? What about payroll taxes?
No. Income taxes are dischargeable. Payroll taxes are not dischargeable. And if you didn't file your returns and you waited long enough that the government files one for you, then that year's taxes won't be dischargeable either.
Okay. All right. So here, I'm throwing it up on the chart. I want you to picture it. This is Sean and Marcy's budget, not listening to Jerry. Before they filed the Chapter 7, they were $3,000 in the hole per month, making the credit card payments, paying the tax installment. They were paying $550 a month on the taxes. They were paying $100 a month on their medical bills. They filed Chapter 7.
Wait a second. Just right there. When you put together their whole budget and you said that they're underwater on their budget. The reason they were able to do that is because they kept putting more and more on their credit cards every month. They would charge and pay down, but they weren't paying down nearly what they were charging, and they were going. That's why and then the reason they walk into my office is because they hit the maximum. They hit the table limit, so to speak, when you're talking about gambling. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were gambling with their financial future, and now we're going to give them a winning hand.
Right, so here's the whole point. They get rid of the credit card debt, they get rid of the tax payment, they get rid of the medical bills. Now their budget is positive $166 a month.
They're not setting the world on fire with that positive 166, but they're at least they're allowed to file a Chapter 7 and discharge all of that based on their income, even with the $166 left over.
And they've enhanced their balance sheet by $140,000 by getting rid of it.
It's a no-brainer.
All right, let me change the facts for you. Steve and Mary, mid-50s, 2 children, income $225,000 a year. Steve's business failed last year. He has a new job. He's a high-level executive doing recruitment. It's paying him $175,000 a year. Mary's an office manager. She's making $50,000. They've got a house worth $450,000, fair market value, IRAs of $380,000, cash in bank $4,000. Their debts: the mortgage on the house is $400,000, credit cards $90,000, medical bills $20,000, taxes from 16 and 17, $30,000 over the 2 years, and they've got business debts from when the business failed on Steve. Bank line of credit $350,000, business credit cards $200,000. That's $550,000 of business debt. Their net worth after all of this is $256,000. Their monthly budget post new job, they're bringing in $13,125 a month. Their mortgage payment's $3,500. On the business credit cards, their payments would be to $7,250, but they can't really afford to make those payments. Tax installment $550. The rest of their bills, their total expenses are running $15,000. They're underwater by $3,000 a month with all that business debt hanging over them. How does this work, Brian? We're coming up to a break, but will this work? He's making big money, but could he possibly file Chapter 7 bankruptcy?
So normally, somebody that has that type of income isn't going to be eligible for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They make too much money and they fail something called the means test. That is a set of standards set forth by Congress that basically says if you make too much money, subtract income minus your allowable expenses, and by God, if there's a surplus, you don't get to file Chapter 7. But
is that to say you have the means to repay back so you don't get to file?
That is correct. But in this case, Steve and Mary can file Chapter 7.
We're going to take a reverse. We're going to take a break, and then you'll tell us after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays, 7 o'clock a.m. And then on KISS 105.9, Sundays, 7:30 a.m. every week. Law and Reality is happy to announce a free webinar. Stay in your home, attend our webinar via the internet. You can watch it at the time of your choice and at your convenience. Just go to thavgross.com or lawandreality.com on the homepage, click webinar, and you'll be taken right to the webinar, and you'll have Brian, myself, and Jeff Linden presenting to you. We're going to talk about how to eliminate your debt and get a fresh start and live debt-free for 2021. Remember, to be free, you must be debt-free. We'll address all the methods that we use to preserve future income, get rid of the debt so that you can start saving money in the bank rather than giving your money to the bank. There'll be a special segment on small businesses facing debt and closure issues, learning your best options of when to use bankruptcy and when not to file bankruptcy. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You can always come in to THAV Gross for a free consult. We're doing teleconferences, phone conferences, as well as proper social distancing for in-office meetings. Whichever you prefer, we can accommodate. You want to call 888-235-HELP or go online to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeffrey Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help you. When you come in and you get a free consult, it's not a meet and greet. It's an analysis of your problem with a specific developed plan as to the best and optimal solution to that problem, so you know what your options are and you know how to implement a plan to resolve the problem. Also, take a look at the free reports that are online. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solution by myself and Jeff Linden, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and also the Retiree's Guide from Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We were here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV Gross will solve your problem.
So we're back. So Brian, could they file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? He's making $175,000 a year. His wife's making $50,000. That's $225,000 coming in. I thought they have the means.
So they do have the means. And if this was a consumer debt case, they would not be able to file a Chapter 7.
Well, what is consumer debt, Brian?
Consumer debt, meaning the type of debt, to give you examples, you go use your credit card to buy gas for your car, or you're paying for your groceries, or you're buying clothes for the house, or for your kids, or whatever. Those are consumer debts. Non-consumer debts are generally business-related debt. So in this case...
But what about tax debt?
Tax debt is also considered non-consumer debt. I could go into a litany of case law as to why, but just suffice to say that income tax obligations, payroll tax obligations, that type of are non-consumer debt.
Okay.
So in this case, because their non-consumer debt exceeds their consumer debt. So Stephen and Mary have more business-related debt
Putting
than
a chart
consumer.
up. Putting a chart up, and their consumer debt totals $510,000. That's the mortgage, the credit cards, and the medical bills.
Their personal use of credit cards.
Yes. Their non-consumer debt is the $200,000 business credit cards, $30,000 of income taxes, and the $350,000 business loan. So they've got $580,000 of non-consumer debt versus $550,000 consumer.
So in this case, because their non-consumer debt exceeds their consumer debt, they're eligible to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy because we do not have to take or pass the means test, the ability to pay test in a Chapter 7 because it's non-consumer debt.
Does anybody ever say that the means test is a mean test?
Oh, I've been saying that since it went into effect in 2005. You can't steal my thunder on that one.
Because if you fail it, it's mean because you then can't do the Chapter 7.
That's correct.
That stinks.
So the net result of them filing a Chapter 7 sounds so extraordinary because their surplus in their income is $6,175 net per month after they eliminate all that debt.
You get rid of the credit card debt, the tax installment, the medical bills. They're now $66,000 a month to put in savings after their expenses.
The premise behind it, though, is that the Congress didn't want to punish the entrepreneur whose business failed, because those are the same people who are going to go back into business again for themselves, most likely in the future. They want to promote the American dream. They don't want to crush it.
That's a good outcome. So let me ask you a question. So if he had let's say he wasn't paying his payroll taxes on his employees when the business folded and there was another $100,000 liability on payroll taxes. Would that he could still file a Chapter 7 because, Jeff, that would be non-consumer debt?
Well, no. There's a portion of the payroll tax.
Yes, it is non-consumer debt. Wait. It is non-consumer debt. It is not dischargeable debt, which means that Jeff has to now act on it on behalf of.
So let me see if I get it right. So he could file the bankruptcy, but he still has the $100,000 of non-consumer debt. And then what do you do with that, Jeff? You get him in a payment plan?
Yeah, under these circumstances, he'd be in a payment plan. The financial analysis tools that we would use for how much he would have to pay or whether we could compromise any of the debt are the same categories and tables that the federal court, the bankruptcy court, uses for the means test. So we'd apply their income versus their allowable expenses and determine a payment plan over the life of the collection. The nice thing is that the IRS only has 10 years to collect from you, so sometimes we can structure things so that some debt falls off that you don't actually have to pay back.
Yeah, there's a secret point here, too, that I want to make because people are struggling in their businesses right now.
Can I ask you a quick question? Does Jerry, the bartender, know about this secret point?
Jerry doesn't know about any of this, okay? But here's the fourth point. There's a lot of people that are trying to hold on to their businesses and they're failing. This shows you how Chapter 7 can still work to get rid of the debt even if you still have good income after from other jobs. But payroll taxes will haunt you. They won't stop you from filing the Chapter 7, taking advantage of the difference of non-consumer versus consumer, but you'll still have to pay them. So if you're failing, still pay the payroll taxes. Don't stop paying those. If you have to let the business go, we'll stick it to the bank, not to the government on the payroll taxes. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.